Yeah.
It's been tough to get in there.
Yes, you read that title correctly. I, Nathan Galang, TheNathanGalang on YouTube.com, debated Ben Shapiro for like a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 5'2".
You made it.
I'm the only one in the room shorter than you.
On Jubilee, on their YouTube channel. It was just released today, so I want to make a video talking about the experience, talking about the debate, explaining my position, and also responding to some of the arguments that Ben made. First of all, we're going to talk about my experiences though. Flew into California, first time being in LA. It's a very nice city. It gets a lot of shit, but it's very, very cool in my opinion, and I would have loved to explore more, but it's an expensive trip. Waited for the big day. The big day came. I went to the Jubilee studio. I met creators that if you've watched the other Jubilee videos, you might be familiar with. I've met creators that I'm familiar with that, as far as I know, were not in other Jubilee videos. And that was a pretty neat part of the experience. I also had theorized that it was going to be Ben. You know, they had Charlie Kirk beforehand. So if they were to get another guy, I feel like they would have to aim higher. And getting someone like Matt Walsh or Steven Crowder would honestly at this point be a bit of a downgrade. So I just knew it was going to be Ben. I did preparations for debating Ben. The only issue is most of my prep were things that I like to debate, like economics. And the time I got to speak, the one time I got to speak, the 1 minute I got to speak was about a topic I don't like debating, abortion. It's very hard to move people on. You know, it's a moral debate, and then when you debate the morals, you're debating life itself. What is life? What is living? It's annoying. So when I went up there, I just wanted to sort of focus on the framing. I wanted to point out that Ben's framing that Kamala Harris's position on the issue is extremist or radical is just kind of silly, because she has the majoritarian opinion. She believes in restoring Roe v. Wade, which is what most Americans support. So it's kind of the opposite of extremist or radical, especially when you factor in that Roe v. Wade was the compromise. Roe v. Wade had limitations to when you can and cannot get an abortion that honestly felt fair, and most of the American public felt was fair. And look, Donald Trump is trying to pretend that he's also the compromise candidate on the issue of abortion. He's saying, I don't want to ban the abortions, and everybody wanted the abortion laws to just go to the states. But guys, that's just role-playing. He's role-playing, just like with the McDonald's shit. He's playing pretend, because in no poll do you see that the majority opinion was to the states. That was not the opinion of the American people. He's literally playing pretend, and I think that's a hell of a lot more radical than what Kamala Harris is saying, which is just restore the law that was the law of the land. So that was essentially me and Ben's debate. It was an argument about framing, and I think I came off polite. Direct but polite. I made a little joke about both of us being short, so it wasn't just me, a short person, just being a dick to a person that was slightly taller than me that's generally shorter than the population and gets made fun of for his height. It was me making fun of both of us. So I think it kind of came off as more friendly. It made Ben laugh, you know. Ben actually looked quite happy talking to me compared to some of the other contestants. I don't know, I just got that swag about me. I got that riz. Talking about my debate, it was short. It was short, and that's kind of made me upset. You know, I would have loved to debate more. I have an itch to debate more. I have a lot of preparation that I did before the event. But, you know, it's just so hard to find conservatives to debate. It really is. I tried to debate these college Republicans, and I did debate them. But and it was supposed to be recorded. But they demanded, as we got closer to the event, no recording allowed, no recording allowed. But I just had this itch to debate, so I debated them. I fucking owned them. I'm not even gonna lie, this isn't me like jerking myself off here. I'm just being honest. They were horrible. They were actual Nazis, and they were talking about the Haitians eating the dogs and satanic and occult and voodoo. That's the opening statement that they made. So it was easy work, and I didn't get to record it. Truly tragic. This Ben one, I did debate Ben. I did meet him. And neither of us really got destroyed. It was like a modest disagreement about framing. So I still got that itch to debate, bruh. I still got that itch. I wanted to also respond to some of the other arguments that Ben used, that Ben claimed. So one of the best parts of the video, in my opinion, got put to the second channel. It was Ben's first claim that Kamala was a greater threat to democracy, or a big threat to democracy, which is ridiculous when you realize, or you factor in the fact that her opponent is Donald Trump, who fraudulently claimed that the election was stolen about 1 million times to this day. His VP's doing the same thing, refusing to say that Donald Trump lost when everybody knows that Donald Trump lost, even if you disagree with that notion because you're a partisan hack. You know he lost. Ben knows he lost. But Ben, being the partisan hack media guy that he is, had to undermine or underplay any single thing that Donald Trump does, even if he personally doesn't like Donald Trump, but he knows his audience. He knows where the conservative movement's at. How did the people handle that? I didn't get to speak on that. Good group of people did. I'm being serious when I tell you, I don't think there was a single moment in that section of the video where Ben won the argument. Ben got his ass beat right off the bat, and somehow that got turned into bonus content. Oh man, look, I'm not running Jubilee. I'm not hating on anybody running Jubilee. I'm not hating on any decisions, but guys, that was main channel shit, dog. That was main channel shit. I wonder if Ben went to them and said, could you put that on the second channel? Maybe make that the second channel video, because he didn't look good. He just didn't look good. I watched the video. I recommend it because the guys that went up were so good. His second claim was that Kamala is pushing a radical DEI agenda or something like that, and is extreme and this, that, or the other. And I think that that's just ridiculous. The things that Kamala is pushing, things like the 3 million homes that she wants to build to increase supply so it meets demand, so we can actually lower cost in this country when it comes to housing, simple supply and demand shit. She's not doing the black people only homes. These 3 million homes, yeah, black people only. Get out, whitey. She's not doing that. Going beyond Kamala's position, I really wanted to come up to talk about the DEI shit so I can go up to Ben and directly tell him, I will bet you $1, Ben, that in 2028, you and the rest of the right-wing media will not be talking about DEI, because you guys are gonna find another focus group tested bad guy, boogeyman, that you guys can hyperfixate on and talk about in the media, just like what they did with CRT. How many of them are talking about CRT, folks? Not a lot, folks. Not a lot. They've dropped the CRT for DEI, and they're gonna drop DEI probably in 2 years, but I would have bet 4 years just to be careful. And I would have said, Ben, I'll honor this bet. I will give you $1 in 4 years if I'm wrong. I'm a betting man. I'm Filipino. It's a bit of gambling. You know how we do. But I would have pivoted. It's a distraction from the facts that Donald Trump wants to do these ridiculous tariffs. That's his only economic policy. Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. When he doesn't know the difference between the trade deficit and the regular deficit as it relates to the debt. And he says we're gonna get rid of the deficit. I assume he means trade deficit. Maybe he can completely get rid of that. But every economist says that's economic suicide. That's gonna increase prices dramatically. Every economist. It's not even a debate. That's also gonna increase the need for production. And what is Donald Trump's only other policy that he seems to talk about? Mass deportations. Increase the demand, which will increase the need for production in America, which we are already seeing more production in America, manufacturing in America under Biden. But that will increase the need dramatically, which if it gets done would cause mass labor shortages, according to right-wing publications. I saw an article by Reason Magazine, which is a right-wing conservative paper, and they were saying that not only is this mass deportation shit immoral, it's economically horrible. It's also going to increase prices. It's also going to remove production in a time where if Trump's elected, we would need to increase production dramatically. It's the dumbest shit in the world. Yeah, I would have hyperfixated on the econ shit. There's a reason why he didn't want to talk about econ. There's a reason why he wanted to talk about the culture war. He wants to talk about DEI because this econ shit is indefensible from Donald Trump. Add on to that, he's completely dropped the fake populism. He's not for unions. He didn't bring jobs back. We're seeing onshoring under Biden, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. We saw a loss of 200,000 manufacturing jobs under Trump. We've seen the CHIPS Act. We've seen historic public and private investments into manufacturing in the United States, into manufacturing construction, the like of which we haven't seen since World War II, folks. But of course, Ben doesn't really want to talk about that. He wants to talk about DEI. I guarantee you, folks, he's not going to be talking about DEI in 2028. I would also assume not even in 2026. Believe me. The fourth thing that was brought up, Kamala's radical immigration policy will destroy the economy or something of that nature. That was Ben's claim. When it comes to immigration policy, Donald Trump wants to do mass deportations, mass labor shortages. Ben could say, oh, on principle, it's not like I'm for labor shortages. It doesn't matter, Ben. You're supporting the labor shortages. I'm against labor shortages. Kamala's against labor shortages. Unfortunately, Kamala has taken a much more right-wing position on the border, which goes to show you how radical Trump is, that, oh, it's not good enough. Because her position is pretty much push the bipartisan bill that was written by conservatives that intends to make less immigration into this country, that intends to deport people. It's a right-wing bill. It's a right-wing bill, and that's what she supports. Ultimately, it isn't as radical as mass deportations under Trump. It's the better of the choices. It's the more economically responsible of the choices. choices. So the fact that Ben would make his claim something like it will ruin the economy or ruin the nation is just also almost as silly as the first claim, where he was pretending that Kamala was a greater threat to democracy than the guy who claimed that the election that he lost was stolen from him and has pushed it among his cult-like following. Right, so then the final topic that was brought up by Ben was about Israel and Palestine, and we could understand this in a very short period of time. Anything Israel does is good. Anything Palestine does is their fault, and they're the bad guy. They're Hamas. That's pretty much Ben's position. Now, two guys talked to him that are clearly more knowledgeable on the subject than me, and that was a good thing. But listening throughout the conversation, I just kind of wanted to like just remind some pretty basic facts. Like when Ben Shapiro blames the Palestinians for Hamas, essentially, being like, well, they elected Hamas. Their election was like in 2005 and 2006, okay? Half the population in Gaza is children. They're under 18, right? When it was 2005, I was 4 years old. I'm 23 years old now. So the people that are under 18 were most definitely completely unresponsible for Hamas having power. If you're wondering, why don't they ever rebel against Hamas? I believe there was protests and then there was violent suppression. The idea that you could just blame every Palestinian is ridiculous. The idea that the far right is a rarity in Israel is also ridiculous. The idea that Israel can do no wrong is ridiculous. Just compare the disparity with the deaths. Compare the disparity with the displacements. It's clear this is not a complicated situation. And if you put a reverse situation where it was Arabs that ran Israel and Jews that lived in Gaza, and the Jews were forced to live in an open air prison, and they were genocided and bombed and this and the matter that Israel is doing to the Palestinians today, I can almost guarantee you that Ben Shapiro would not be on the side of the Palestinians in that hypothetical situation. Yet when it's Israel doing it, it's fine. Anyway, overall, had a great time somewhat. I mean, it would have been nice to speak more. It would have been a lot nicer to speak more. Had a time, had an experience. I would do it again, but probably for middle ground. I'm gonna make a reaction video to it, folks, and then if somebody, a streamer like Hassan, Destiny, Vosh, whoever, reacts to it, then I'm going to react to their reaction in a separate video from my reaction. Stick around. You're gonna not want to miss it, folks. You're gonna want to see it.